السلام عليكم متتبعي الكرام، كي دايرين؟ لاباس عليكم؟ نتمنى تكونوا بخير وعلى خير. اليوم فيديو جديد غنخرجكم تساراو معايا واحد النهر بالسفينه، اجواء في غايه الروعه. نتمنى التشجيعات ديالكم وفرجه ممتعه.
Things haven't changed much since the 1890s. Well, upon hearing word that we won the right to host the fair here, we hired two architects. We hired a landscape architect by the name of Frederick Olmsted, who designed Central Park in New York City. He decided on an area of land 5 miles directly south of here in Jackson Park to lay down the grounds for the fair. Then we hired a building architect by the name of Daniel Burnham, who built what would become known as the White City. Beautiful white buildings illuminating at night, made of a temporary and cheap material known as staff, wood, plaster, and white paint. The buildings were only meant to be temporary. The fair was only lasting from May until November of 1893. There was, however, one building built pretty solidly, and that was the Palace of Fine Arts. And the reason for that is it had to hold the art collections that were coming in from all over the world here to Chicago. You know, folks, that building still stands today. It's the Museum of Science and Industry in Hyde Park. It's one of the few buildings remaining from that period of time. Well, that fair of 1893 gave us a lot of really cool things, many of which we still use today. Nikola Tesla's alternating current, Cracker Jacks, that tasty treat, Pabst beer, you know today is Pabst Blue Ribbon. The very first zipper was unveiled at that World's Fair. The first movable sidewalk, the brownie thanks to Bertha Honoré, wife to Paula Palmer, the hamburger, soap, the belly dancer, the dishwasher made its first appearance at that World's Fair. And you know, we were looking for a structure that would represent and symbolize the fair for years to come. Well, the famous Gustavo Eiffel, the famous Eiffel Tower in Paris, said he would build us an Eiffel Tower twice the size of the one in Paris for our World's Fair here in Chicago. We said no, thank you. We went with a guy by the name of George Ferris from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And guess what he built us? The very first Ferris wheel. You know, folks, that first Ferris wheel was 260 feet in diameter. Took a half an hour to make one rotation. Each compartment on the Ferris wheel was a former Pullman sleeper train car that could hold up to 60 people in one compartment. A full-time orchestra performed every time that Ferris wheel made a rotation. After our World's Fair, that Ferris wheel made it down to St. Louis for their World's Fair. Now, folks, if you want to learn more about the fair, then I highly recommend this non-fiction book. It's one of my favorites of all time. It's called The Devil in the White City by the author Eric Larson, and it tells two stories. It tells the story of Daniel Burnham, Louis Sullivan, and the other great architects at the time of the fair. But then it tells another story. It tells the story of our country's first serial killer by the name of H.H. Holmes, who actually ran a hotel on the south side of the city at 63rd and Wallace, not very far from the fair. He would lure his victims from the fair to his hotel, mostly women. They would check in, but sadly never checked out. It's called the Burnham Castle. Highly recommended. Matter of fact, Hulu is turning it into a mini-series, written and directed by Martin Scorsese and Leonardo DiCaprio, and Keanu Reeves is playing the role of Daniel Burnham. So I'm excited about that. All right, folks, we're going to be heading on to the south branch of the river, and I'm going to pick up with the architecture portion. Now, what you need to know is these buildings here on our right don't have a lot of land for them to be built on, because as I said, there are active railroad lines for the Metro and Amtrak trains running just west of here. Take a look at this building here on our right. This is 150 North Riverside, built in 2017 by Gesh Partners. The base of the building is only 40 feet wide, the width of our boat. They have 16 10-ton caissons that go deep down into bedrock. That supports the building at the base. Look up though. How do you prevent the building from being knocked back and forth in the wind? Well, on top of the building they have what's called a mass damper system. 6 silos full of water on rollers. When the wind blows the building in one direction, the water rolls to the opposite side to stabilize it. So people that are in that building never feel the motion. Looks like it was built upside down. We actually call it the champagne glass building. You can imagine what the people in the condo building thought when it was built. They were not happy. That was a park for the longest time. No one thought anything could be built there. Now off here on our right, folks, this is 100 North Riverside, built in 1991 by Perkins and Will. It is the Boeing headquarters. You have a 36-story structure going up to a clock tower, and then another 13-floor structure here. Now folks, what's unique about this part of the building is that on the southwest corner, Union Station has their switching lines below the building, so they can't have any support columns going down into bedrock. So how do they hold that part of the building up? Well, on top of the building is a series of 5 trusses that are cantilevered from piers below. The best way to explain it, it's like a giant hand holding up the southwest corner of the building. Now look at this beautiful Art Deco building here on our right. This is 2 North Riverside, built in 1929 by Halliburton Root. This was actually the home of the Chicago Daily newspaper. This was the very first office building built over active railroad lines. And it was the first office building with an outdoor plaza. And folks, if you come back next season, our Wendella water taxis do run. You can get a water taxi from where you got on the boat. Come here, get off the water taxi, go behind this building to the Ogilvie Transportation Center and take the metro trains out to the north and northwestern suburbs. Matter of fact, when we clear the ridge, you'll see, if you look off on the right, a large glass building. That's
صورت ححط هادشي في الفيديو. قولي للحاج يتفرج.